Welcome to another episode of Roll Up a Pull Up. So get your blunts rolled and your drink poured. Alright, so for this one, I'm gonna do this one about my daddy. Yeah. The real motherfucking legend. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so the way I'm gonna start this with my daddy was a real stand-up man, which is exactly why I turned out to be who I am. My daddy was a real masculine man. My daddy was a real man and a real father. So back in my daddy time, he came up in the YBI era. Like right before BMF and all that shit started. They was called YBI boys. And they was all over the D. And my daddy was one of them. He was a YBI member, So he was heavy into the street shit. And let me say this for the record. My daddy didn't have his daddy, So my daddy became a daddy off scratch type shit, So he, gang bang doing his thing, selling drugs and all that shit. And him and my mama, they stayed on the same block on West Warren. You go on my shorts, watch my short, I show where my parents came from. And they grew up on the same block together and all of that. So they were like 13 or some shit. My daddy been chasing my mama for a few years. Now, my mama was the complete opposite of my daddy. My daddy was a street nigga. My mama was the bookworm. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that was his kryptonite. And he chased her down for a couple of years till he finally got her. So he finally got her. I don't know, they probably like 16, 17 around that time or something, And they've been together ever since. So my daddy always was there for my mama, all of that. All of their friends that they grew up on the block with, all of them was very close and tight. They was family, They was some of the family members that's not family members that was at the barbecues and all of that shit, because they all grew up together. So we all grew up like family, So by the time my time came, which was they had me like a couple of years after they got together. So they been rocking together for a few years before they even had me. It wasn't like they started fucking around and then they just had me. Like, nah, they been together for a few years, you know what I'm saying? So then when I finally come around, which was 89, when I came around in 89, my daddy was still in the streets, you know what I'm saying? He was like, he probably like 19, 20 at the time or some shit. He was still in the streets doing his thing with his homies. I told you my mom was the complete opposite. She stayed in the house, she came outside time to time, but she mainly stayed in the house. She wasn't with the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? So when they had me, my mama said, look, he can't grow up in this neighborhood. Because back then, West Warren, Illinois was some death row type shit, you know what I'm saying? So she like, hey, we gotta move from over here, you know what I'm saying? We gotta make a better living for him. So at that time, on 7 Mile, where we moved to, 7 Mile was a real nice area, you know what I'm saying? Brick houses, like this brick wall, you feel me? Brick motherfucking houses, you feel me? And it was beautiful over there. It wasn't nothing like West Warren, And it was some white people over there at the time. So basically, my mama thought she had a lick. Like, she moved somewhere to like a more suburban area, you know what I'm saying? She thinking, she done got out the hood type shit. But that was right before 7 Mile had turned the fuck up. So around that time was like 95, 94, 95. Because they had me in 89, but my mama didn't move out the hood to about 94, 95. So I was about 5 years old, you know what I'm saying? So when she finally got the money right and she found the house on 7 Mile, she got up out of there. And she kept telling my daddy, like, hey, when I get this money right, I'm getting up out of here. We not gonna keep raising him over here for him to grow up and be like you and blah 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 blah, all that type of shit. My daddy wasn't having it. He like, fuck that. He gonna grow up in the hood. He gonna learn this shit. He gonna be all right. You know, all that. My daddy was on it. You know what I'm saying? He wanted me to grow up in the hood and become a man off of that shit. My daddy fed me to the wolves at a young age, you know, and I'm gonna get to all of that. But this my daddy was on. He like, nah, he gotta become a man, raise him in the jungle type shit. That's what my daddy was on. My mama like, hell no, we not having that, you know. So she got the money. I'm pretty sure he gave her, so I don't know how they did it. But she had got the money and got out the hood. Now, that was poverty. West Warren was poverty. Like, no money. Not even $20,000 a year. Like, West Warren was real life poverty for real. So, how she got the money up, she got her credit up, got a couple dollars for a down payment, and got the fuck off West Warren. We went to 7 Mile, where it was a whole lot better at, you know. So, all right, we get over there. My daddy, he mad as hell that she bought the house on 7 Mile, you know, because he didn't want her moving out the hood type shit. Now, from 7 Mile to Evergreen, where we moved to, from West Warren to Livernois, is like a 30-minute ride. You know what I'm saying? They both on the west side of the city, but they like on two complete opposite sides of the west side. You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? West Warren and Livernois is like the deep east end of the west side, and then 7 Mile and Evergreen is like the deep west end of the west side. You know what I'm saying? So it was two completely different sides of one side of town. So my daddy didn't like that. He was mad as hell. They had a big ass problem with that shit and all of that. So my mama told him, she like, look, you know, if you don't get out the hood and come move over here with us, then we just gonna leave because we not coming back there, blah, blah, blah. This how G of my daddy was. He put the street shit down. He let all that shit go. He came home. He got a job. He became a bus driver for the city. Mind you, this coming from a gang-banging drug dealer that turned his whole life around because he couldn't see me growing up without him. You know what I'm saying? So he turned his whole life around just like that, just to have me, you know. So he came, moved in, and he became a father off scratch. Like I said, he didn't have his father. So he learned how to be a father right off scratch. And he was there every day of my life. He never left me. He never left my mama. He never played us. None of that. He never cheated on my mama. He never hit my mama. None of that shit. They slept in the bed together every day. They did what they had to do. And they made sure that I was right. Now, my mama let my daddy raise me. Moms was there, you know. She did like the cooking and cleaning, and you know, she went to work. She made her money. She came home. She go watch TV. She ironed some clothes, cooked dinner, you know, shit like that. But she mainly like, you know, stayed upstairs and watched TV most of the time and let my daddy run me, you know. And my daddy was on that tip, so he was always whooping my ass. He was always on my head, disciplining me, you know. He went to all my parent-teacher conferences, you know. He was so deep with the parent-teacher conference shit. Oh my God, man. He had relationships with my teachers where he'd give my teachers his phone number and be like, hey, look, you know, anytime he fuck up, just call me. I'm gonna come get him. My dad be like, I get off work and come get him. And I done tried this gangster a couple times. Where I be in class cutting the fuck up, and the teacher be like, I'm gonna call your daddy. I'm like, man, you ain't gonna do shit, you know. Teacher calls him. Be right on the phone with him, right there in my face, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Man, not even 30 minutes later, he pull up. They calling my name on the PA system saying report to the office. Oh my God. He'd take me home, beat the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? My daddy did not play them games. Like, did not play. My daddy was a real fucking father. So, anyway, with him working for the city, driving the city bus, the Detroit city bus, he gained seniority real quick. He was doing a good job and all that. He was doing his motherfucking thing. So, way how my daddy was cut, he wasn't with all that, just had all his money in the bank, type shit. He carried cash because he still had that hustle mentality in him. So he had carried a fat ass knot of cash like this. Not no ones and fives, none of that bullshit. He had hundreds, 50s, 20s, all of that shit. Big ass knot like this. Every day in his work pants pocket. Every single day. And, when he had come home from work, he had sit his pants, like, him and my mama stayed upstairs, I stayed on the main floor, and him and my mama stayed upstairs, So when they, go upstairs, go to sleep and shit, my daddy, he'd leave his work pants on the steps going up the stairs. And he'd leave them on, like one of the bottom steps, So if I open the door, his pants right there type shit, So, I knew he carried all his money. You know what I'm saying? I was about 6, 7 years old at the time. And I started stealing from him. Oh yeah, I was bad as hell. And I wasn't stealing from him, maliciously or nothing like that. It was just because I always knew he had money. So I wanted to take some of his money to school. So I go in his pocket as soon as I hear him snoring. Like my daddy snore loud as hell. So as soon as I hear him snoring, I go in his pocket and pull out that bankroll. Like 6, 7 years old, no lie. On my daddy dead and gone now. This is a true story, So I used to pull out all this money. Young as hell, I'd sit there right on the steps and be flipping through all the money. It'd be all different colors. I was so infatuated with his money. It was crazy, And it'd be like a couple of $1,000. Like, no bullshit, So I'm like, you know what? In my head, I'm thinking, at that time, I'm young. I'm 6, 7 years old. I'm thinking like, he got so much of this. If I take just a couple of dollars, he won't realize it, So I started off with like $50 or something. I took a $50 bill one time. He ain't say shit, I'm like, all right. Came back a couple days later. Took $100, He ain't say shit. Man, this is funny. So I'm like, damn, he don't realize, bad. So I know what I'm doing. So I went back a couple more times. I took $100 here, $50, $75 here. He let me get away with it. So I'm thinking I'm doing something. So one time I took $500 from his ass. No cap, all 50s, $500. Because he had so many 50s, it was crazy. So, with all these damn 50s, I just grabbed some of them. I had $500 worth of 50s, no lie. So, I grabbed the money. I put back his money. And I go to school the next day. And I got people that can verify this shit. You know what I'm saying? I went to school with the money. And I pulled that shit out of my pocket. I spread it out. $50. $50 bills. $500. And $50 bills. At 7 years old, I was the man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody had no money at 7 years old. Especially not know all that money in $50 bills. You know what I'm saying? If I would have just came there in $1 bills, I would have been the man. But it was 50s. You know what I'm saying? I was that nigga, man. Everybody was on my head fucking with me. I was crowned that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. Dog. Next thing I know, they calling my name over the PA system. I was only in school for about an hour. Stunned. They called my name over the PA system. I came in there and it was him. Standing right there with that look in his face. And like when he mad, his eyes turn red naturally. Like mine turn red when I get blowed, you feel me? But when he mad, they'll turn red. I knew he was gonna kill me, you know. So he walked me out of school. And he like, where my money? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, man, he took me home. This was the first time he ever did this. He took me home. He made me take all my clothes off. And he whooped me with the buckle of his belt. Then he whooped me with the belt. Then he put hands on me. Then he stomped my head in the ground until I told him where the money was. He beat the shit out of me. And I was on punishment for like that whole summer. It was crazy. After that, I stopped robbing. You know what I'm saying? Because he fucked me up. You feel me? But that was some shit that, I learned off of him early in the game. Like, he taught me that he don't play no motherfucking games, and I'm going to learn something from him. And he taught me that, he was there every day of my life. And I got so many memories with him, it's crazy, But that was one of the biggest ones. I remember when I was a little kid, man, 30 years ago. And he came for me, He was a real daddy, flat out. And I learned not to touch his money no more. And he wouldn't hide his money or none of that. He put it right there on the step. Go ahead and touch it if you want to, But he taught me how to respect him, how to respect anybody. Don't just take people's shit, you know what I'm saying? Don't touch people's shit, flat out. It ain't yours, don't touch it. I've been through a lot with him. And then around that time, he ended up getting married to my mama. So I think I was like 8 years old when he married my mama. I was about 8 years old. And I was in the wedding. I was the ring bearer. So I came out there with the ring, gave it to him and everything. Yeah, I was in the wedding. So I had a real daddy, and he changed his life around to be there for me. And he was there 100%. He didn't play no games, none. He ain't played no games,